Uh, 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 uh. It's gonna be y'all ride, and you know it's gonna be y'all ride. It almost wasn't though. What's good, baby? You know what I'm saying? Yo, Urban Therapy with Sun Show, and here we are. We all up in your area, live and direct. Let's get this respect. Let's go, baby. It's all good, and it's on. Let's get it understood. That is gonna be y'all ride, and everything is gonna be y'all ride. Thank you, won't. Yo, it took a while for the stream to come up. I thought it wasn't going to go down, and I'm not really sure if we are live on the air. So let me know if we're not streaming. You know, if y'all feel like if it's a situation where y'all feel like y'all still waiting, then I need to know. I need to know. Oh, it's gonna be y'all right. Otherwise, everything is gonna be y'all right. We keep it down, y'all. So before I really get started here, let me make sure that I'm on because I'm not really sure. Like I said, there was a delay in starting the stream, so I need to make sure that we're up and running. So I'm gonna let it breathe for a minute. I'm gonna just go ahead and let it breathe for a minute, and then we'll continue from there. Are y'all all right? Otherwise, and I hope that you are. Yeah. So let's get it popping. Get it popping. And it's gonna be y'all right, and probably a be okay. Yes, well, hey, it's the Urban Therapy with Sun Show, y'all. Sunday morning, let's get it right. Sunday morning, let's get it right. Are we here? Can y'all see me? Okay, y'all can see me. Because, yo, like I said, the stream was delayed, and I ain't know what's going on up in the place. So boy Bill did the story is all up in the house. It's good to see me, some you right now. And Monica Davis, Queen Monica is all up in the crib. Yo, I'm glad this is where you live. And T Carrie Wright, all sunny and bright. I'm glad you here in the daytime and night. And Emily Dunlap is in the house. Bow, she about to turn it out. So here we are on the Urban Therapy with Sun Show this morning on this Sunday morning, the 5th of April. 5th of April, baby. And spring is in full swing. You know, spring is in full and total effect, even though many of us aren't getting a chance to really be able to get out there and enjoy the springtime the way we would like to, because we stuck in the house with a whole coronavirus thing. The whole coronavirus thing is going down, and this is just something that we have to deal with. And until it's done, we're going to still have to try to find a way to have some fun. So that's what it's all about. But this morning on the Urban Therapy with Sun Show, we are talking about the difference between being crazy and being mental ill. The difference between acting crazy and mental illness. You know, when we start talking about mental illness, you know, you're not playing around. You're not talking about something that's situational. You're not talking about something that you can just turn on and off. It's not something that you can play around with. But people act crazy all the time. People see somebody act crazy and it works for them, and then they duplicate that craziness. Yeah. And I think we all probably have some family members, or we probably have some friends, acquaintances, co-workers, people that we know, neighbors, people that we grew up with, all kinds of stuff that have acted crazy. They ain't crazy, but they've acted crazy. You know, I know a bunch of people who have done crazy stuff in their lives. The thing I've had to try to figure out was whether if they kept doing crazy stuff, was I just able to clock and predict their craziness, or was there something else more going on under the surface that maybe I didn't want to accept? Maybe something that we were all in denial of. We was in denial. I know a specific case of mental illness that I didn't want to accept, that after a while I had to accept. His family had to accept. All his friends and associates had to accept. Classmates, people who knew him, had to accept. And it's a hard thing to accept, you know, that your man's is off the chain and they ain't coming back. This is not an act. We're not doing this for the crowd. We're not doing this for the attention. Because in the beginning, we may we may have thought that they were. But the thing is, there's a difference between when somebody is acting a fool, acting crazy, acting all wild like a park ape, and somebody who's actually there, who can't turn it on and off. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into it. Urban Therapy with Sun 752 with this, the Urban Therapy with Sun show. We do this every single Sunday morning from 11 o'clock till around 12:30-ish. And the reason that we say 12:30-ish is because sometimes it gets so heated that we just have to do a little OT on a Sunday. And it is Sunday here. It is the 5th of April. And this is the show where adults come out and play with other adults. We laugh, we cry, we argue, fuss and fight, bust it up, go back and forth with each other. We push each other on the swings. We push each other up on a sliding board. We play on the monkey bars in the sandbox, merry-go-round. We get it popping, baby. I am your host, Sun 752, aka Omar with the and if you can't say Omar with the well, then you just say Omar with the R's. The Urban Therapy with Sun show, and we're doing this on this Sunday, the 5th of April, and we're talking about the difference between being crazy and being mentally ill. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you understand? Do you underdig? Do you feel where I'm coming from? Okay. Monica Davis says, we are live and in effect. Play some drums. We'll get to all of that. We gonna get to all of that. Don't worry. All the churches are streaming. I just left 3 services. Well, ain't that something? You church hopping this morning, huh? You just out there church hopping. Is that what we doing? You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Savoy? Build and destroy all up in the house. How you feeling, bro? So let's get it. Let's get into this whole thing, man. What do y'all know about mental illness? Certainly, I'm going to go out on a limb with this, but I'm willing to bet that each and every one of us has a family member that suffers from mental illness. The hardest part about when you're dealing with a close family member that's suffering from mental illness is seeing how they didn't start off that way or went unrecognized for a long time. And then it gets to the point where it starts to be more severe and less treatable and less ignorable. It's not something that we can sweep under the rug anymore. It's not something that you can write off as a rite of passage or passing phase. It's not something that you can just act like it's not there, or it's something that you can just, treat like it's a situational thing. It's not. And when you're dealing with a close family member who suffers from mental illness, whether it's your mom or your dad or your brother and your sister or your favorite cousin, aunt, uncle, whatever the case may be, that's a tough situation to be in. It really is. Now, some of us have been raised by children. Some of us have been raised by parents that suffer from mental illness. And you know how ill that can get. You know how serious that can be. You know how devastating that can be in a child's development, because their first interaction of dealing with a leadership person, dealing with a person that's in charge, that may be their first hero, suffers from mental illness. So they crazy. And so the thing is, crazy people teach crazy things. And crazy people don't know that they're crazy. And that is the biggest difference. That's the biggest difference between acting crazy or being crazy and suffering from mental illness. When you're acting crazy, when you are crazy, you may just be somebody who's funny or somebody who's fearful or somebody that reacts to certain situations in a certain way. It's something that you can turn on and off. You may use it as a coping mechanism. Oh, my friends laugh when I start acting this way, or when I when I'm afraid of something, when I get scared of something, I start acting a certain kind of way, and and people adhere to it. People like it. People gravitate towards it. They ask me to do it again, like I can duplicate being scared again. It's an act, or it's just a reaction. But we're talking about mental illness. We're not talking about something that you can turn on and off. We're not talking about something that's just funny. Mental illness ain't funny at all. I shouldn't say that because some of us may have dealt with mental patients, mentally ill patients that we are able to get a chuckle out of. You know why? Because they may not be 100% dysfunctional. They just have some things that they have to deal with. But when we're talking about mental illness, we're talking about more than just acting crazy, being crazy, not being on a same mental plane as normal people. We also talking about depression, being sad all the time, being suicidal, having suicidal fantasies and playing them out in real life. You know, racing motorcycles, jumping off of buildings, getting high all the time. Yeah, those things are things that we write off as just acting crazy, being crazy, doing crazy things. But a lot of times there's an undercurrent of mental illness there. There's an undercurrent of mental illness there. But sometimes, sometimes our mentally ill people can be a little bit funny. They do funny stuff. And I'm talking about even sometimes when you might be retarded. Yeah, retarded. There's a such thing. I ain't talking about special needs, but the special needs are sometimes funny too. I mean, they have brains. They still understand certain things. They just don't process information the same way that we do. And it's not easy for them to learn in the same ways that we learn. They're mentally ill. So that's what we're talking about this morning on the Urban Therapy with Sun show. And how y'all doing, man? I haven't formally, really reached out to y'all and said hi. Hey, hi, how you doing, Ma? How you doing, Pops? How you doing? What's good? Good to see y'all here this morning. Word. So, if y'all would like to call in and talk about this mental illness thing or being crazy thing, if you have an opinion on it, I'd more than invite you to call in. And the number to call is area code 319-527-6199. I said 319-527-6199. Press number 1 when you call into the show. And then that will let me know that you would like to speak. And the reason that I have to mention that is because you can call 319-527-6199 and just listen to the entire show. You might be on the go, have your headphones on, and you can't be looking at your phone or your device. So you might just want to listen to the show, and you can do that. But if you press number 1, that lets me know that you want to speak. Charlene Curry, Charlene Curry. What's going on, Charlene? How you feeling, Charlene? Good to see you. Yes, yes I do. And Annette Davis, the number 1. Annette Davis, the number 1. What's going on? It's good to see y'all coming through. And I love you. That's one true. Acting crazy, being crazy. Who do we know? Who do we know in our circle? Who do we know with our peoples? Have you ever had a person in your circle that used to act crazy, used to do crazy stuff, used to have y'all all on edge like, yo, such and such be wilding out? But that might have been your best friend. Like, oh, they keep me in some trouble. They keep us having to explain stuff. They keep us doing this, that, and the third. Because they act crazy. But they might be fun, we might be mentally ill. Or just as crazy as they are. But they are crazy. You're dealing with somebody that may have to take medication, and you might be dealing with somebody that has to take medication that doesn't want to do that. You may have been dealing with somebody who has been committed into a mental institution, and if you're old enough, you remember when they had to stay in the mental institution for a minute. And then you may remember when they closed down most of the mental institutions and set everybody out there into the street. And people wonder how come we have a homeless population that grows and grows and grows. Well, you don't have anywhere to care and centralize people who suffer from mental illness. A lot of people don't believe that people with mental illness should be centralized. I can see the pros and the cons of both arguments, but nonetheless, you may have been close to somebody who was mentally ill. And so your idea and your feelings about mental illness may be different because you may have a up close and personal perspective on it, and it may shape the way that you think about it. So you may be able to educate some people on different facets and aspects of mental illness, and you may also not look at them as all that crazy. You may see degrees and craziness as partially normal, whatever normal is, baby, whatever normal is. So you may have a different experience with it, and you may be able to teach. Yo, thanks for coming through, y'all. Listen, please make sure that y'all hit the like button. Hit the like button on your way in. You know what I mean? Hit the like button on your way in. Hit the like button on your way in. Hit the like button. Hit the like button on your way in. I said, hit the like button on your way in. Hit the like button on your way in. That's word. And my man, my brother from another mother, Norris Hill. I said, my brother from another mother, Norris Hill. I said, my brother from another mother, Norris Hill. I said, my brother from another mother, Norris Hill. How you feeling, my bro? Let's go. And Shirley Show, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. Shirley Show, the world's most precious and greatest pearl in the world. What's good? What's good, ma? It's good to see me, some you. So, Annette Davis says, my mother dealt with mental illness, and it was hard to deal with because of the teasing from my peers. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough and it's tough because your first heroine, or in your case, your first heroine, the woman that you love, the one that birthed you, the one that raised you, the one that took care of you, the one that protected you, the one that taught you things, suffers from mental illness. It's not like it's a voluntary thing. It's not like, it's not like something that you could turn on and off and all of that. At least she was diagnosed, and so y'all could deal with it in a different way, in a more structured way. But yeah, it can be embarrassing. It can be embarrassing when your parents or somebody else in your family that you love is different from other people, so-called normal people. But here's the thing about mental illness, people who suffer from mental illness, that people seem to forget, especially when they're children, because they don't understand. They just don't know. They forget that people who suffer from mental illness still feel, they still love, they still get angry, they still get sad, and they want to be normal. And in their minds, they are normal. And there's an argument that says that they are normal anyway. I can't tell you how many people that I know that look at people who are schizophrenic not as people who are just crazy and talk to themselves or have multiple personalities. A lot of people believe that people who suffer from schizophrenia are speaking to the ancestors, or that they're speaking to spirits. We figured like they figure, look, they're talking to somebody. They're talking to somebody out there. We just can't see what they're seeing. I have known people who suffer from mental illness, and I've seen the things that they write down, and I've seen them do things that was kind of spectacular. I've seen children who were autistic do some shit that, I think I have a cousin, and I say I think I have a cousin because I met a cousin of mine at my family reunion, a cousin that I had never met before. It's a distant cousin. And she was talking about how her son is autistic. And he drew this picture. I don't know. Let's say it was a horse or some shit. And he wrote a whole story, all of these words inside the picture that he drew. So you had to kind of follow it in order to read the shit. I couldn't really read it, but I was like, God damn, the creativity. And really, in my opinion, the genius that was in it. I'm like, well, how the fuck you do that? There was another crazy man. What was his name? Mr. For the sake of argument, and for the sake of my lack of memory, we'll call him Mr. B. Mr. B was shot out crazy, but he had a lot of sense at the same time. And my father has a thing for people who suffer from mental illness. He does. I used to always say to my pop, if motherfuckers don't act crazy or like they don't have no sense, you don't want to have nothing to do with them. And it was basically because he treated them like people, which you should. But that don't mean that you have to employ them and take chances on them. But anyway, Mr. B lived in one of our rooms. We had rooming houses. We used to rent out rooming houses. We used to rent out rooms, and he rented one of our rooms. And he used to come to the office and pay his rent. And he would be talking all this crazy shit. And one time, when he was paying a rent, he showed me some shit that he wrote down, and he wrote this shit in a circle. And I mean, this was a perfect circle, sort of like the cousin that I was telling y'all about. I was like, I'm trying to follow this shit, damn near getting dizzy, because he wrote it in like a spiral, and it ended with a period, and it was big. It was big, and the line, I was like, how the fuck did you do this? How the fuck did you do this? I swear it was a perfect circle, y'all. It was crazy. He was crazy. Batshit crazy. Mr. B, there was a fire at the damn. One of our employees started a fire at the damn place, and Mr. B jumped out the window to his death. He probably landed. It was only I don't know. I was sad over Mr. B because I was like, he was an all right guy. When I went to go clean out his room, he had all kinds of shit. He was a hoarder. He had all kinds. I was like, what the fuck? And everything that was in that room was crazy. Crazy. But that was mental illness right there. But his mental illness, he was somebody that you could still talk to, and he was kind of funny. He would make you laugh, especially when my dad would kick him out of the office. Like, yo, get the fuck out. Yo, go out. And I'd be like, yo, this shit here, boy. This crazy. Real crazy, you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't acting. That's my whole point. He wasn't acting. It was real. It was really real. So Emily says she's listening online because her Wi-Fi is weak as hell. I know how it be. Hold on, and hold on in. Hold on, hold out. And then David says, I want to call in for this one, but I can't because I'm at work. Excuses. I'm so sick of you and your excuses, Annette. You call yourself the number one, but you scared. You scared to call while you at work because you at the job? It's not the Annette I knew. The Annette I knew was a rebel. But not really. She had rebel in it. Man, I used to drink this shit every show, right? Oh, Lord. Cayenne pepper. Water, cayenne pepper, and lime. Woo! Just trying to beat the Rona. All right. Taki Coleman. Sorry. Taki, right. All up in the house. All right. See what y'all talking about. Y'all got things to say. Carol Chamberlain, mi favorita. Is all up in the house. And then David says, I think that we all suffer from some type of mental illness, but there are some that can deal with it better than others. I don't know if we all suffer from mental illness. I think that it's hard to measure what is total mental health versus mental illness. I mean, I don't know if we all suffer from mental illness, but I understand at the same time what you're trying to say. Carol Chamberlain says, what's crazy to us may be the same to same to them. Well, yeah, That's the difference between acting crazy, being crazy, and mental illness. Mentally ill patients do not believe that anything is wrong with them. They don't. I mean, because what they feel in their minds is real. Just like whatever you feel in your mind and your heart is real. Think about some of the things that you're afraid of and how other people who aren't afraid of those things look at you. They look at you like you crazy. And you looking at them like, how can you not be afraid of this thing? It's weird. It's strange. It's not cool. It's not nice. It's not good. Right? So it's the same thing with a mentally ill person. The thing is, when it comes to the social aspect of a person that's mentally ill, they have to, what separates them from other people that may be normal is that they're going to stand out in society because their ability to socialize with people on a straight level. I'm trying to move away from the word normal, but on a straight level is going to be tougher because their ideas, their feelings, and just the way that they communicate is going to be different. The two of you may be talking about something that is pretty common to you, but it's going to be very uncommon to them. It's going to be different. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Urban Therapy with Son, y'all. Urban Therapy with Son show, y'all. 319-527-6199. 319-527-6199. 319-527-6199. That's the number to call if y'all want to call in and speak your mind, speak your piece, say what's on your mind about this mental illness versus acting crazy thing. Right now, on the Urban Therapy with Son show, we're going over mostly the mentally ill portion. What it's like to deal with somebody who is mentally ill versus dealing with somebody that's crazy. We're going to talk about people who act crazy in a minute because that covers a large portion of the population. As a matter of fact, it's in vogue nowadays. It's some people think it's cute to act crazy. Oh, I don't get what I want, I act crazy. Or he cheat on me, I act crazy. Or he don't act like he love me, I act crazy. Or she don't act like she want me, I act crazy. Or they won't conform, I'll act crazy. People, you got people out here warning you that they're crazy. I told you, shoot, you don't want to do that because I'm crazy. Nigga, if you was crazy, you wouldn't be giving out no warning. You would just act crazy. You would just conduct yourself in a crazy way. When we talking about somebody acting crazy, we talking about more than, things dealing with relationships. We're talking about more than stalking. We're talking about more than checking people's phone. We're talking about more than getting in arguments over jealousy and all of that. We're talking about something much more than that. You're dealing with a seriously mentally ill patient. They might not give a shit who you messing around with. Either that or they might fucking kill yourself. Kill you or themselves or both of y'all if it gets too severe for them to deal with. That's what we talking about when we talk about mentally ill. So playing around with acting crazy, nah, I don't condone that. And no, I don't think it's cute. A lot of people don't want to think that it's cute, and they think that it's cute. So we're talking about the difference between acting crazy or being crazy and being mentally ill, baby. That's what we're talking about today on the daily. Oops, I'm sorry. On the urban therapy with Son show. That's how it's going down. I am your host, Son752. If you didn't know, make sure y'all hit the like button on your way in. You can hit it on the way out, on your way out too. Hit the like button and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel and share this show. Please don't keep this show to yourself. There may be somebody out there who needs this show. Make sure they get it. Make sure they get a heavy dose. Make sure they get a heavy dose. The Urban Therapy with Son show. The difference between being crazy and being mentally ill. That's what we're talking about, y'all. That's what we're talking about. So what y'all know? What y'all know, huh? Huh? What y'all know? Being crazy and being mentally ill. Some of y'all saying, what are you talking about? Even with all of that, I'm not seeing the difference. I don't see how you can act crazy all the time or consistently and not suffer from mental illness. You just haven't been diagnosed. You know, a lot of people keep their mental illness a secret. I've known plenty of people who kept their mental illness a secret. And I've known people who had mental illness running their families and it trickled down right to them. And we didn't know because we grew up with them. We were kids. We played together. We did stuff. And we knew that they were a little off kilter. And we knew that sometimes they had a parent or they had an uncle or aunt or whatever that didn't wash up enough, act a little crazy, took off their clothes in public, talked to themselves, stayed in the house all the time, or sometimes wouldn't talk. That would describe my next door neighbors. Yeah, I grew up next to a whole house full of mentally ill. They was all crazy. And we were friends growing up. So some were more severe than others, but they all kind of turned out the same way the older they got. And I mean bed bug crazy. Bed bug! You're crazy as a bed bug, baby. Crazy. Mentally ill. So boy says it's amazing how the brain works. It sure as hell is. And you know, I'm going to go out on a limb with this one, boy. But this is something I've been saying for a long time. More than likely, each and every one of us has gone through an episode in our lives when we really felt like we was losing it. Like we felt like we were slipping into darkness. Like we felt like we were going the fuck crazy. But we weren't. You know how I know that we weren't? Because we could feel like we were going crazy. We felt like we were going to snap. We felt like we couldn't take it anymore. People who are mentally ill don't feel that way. They just are that way. If you think that you're going crazy, you're not. Because mentally ill patients think that they're normal. They think that everybody else just don't get it. And maybe there's something going on that they know or can feel that shows that everybody else in the world don't get it, but they can't express it. But what they're feeling is real to them, and it's actual. It's authentic. So yeah, those times when things weren't going right in our lives and we couldn't pay our bills, or we were dealing with a lover or a spouse that wouldn't act right, and the kids was off the chain, and people were pulling us in all different directions. It was like we couldn't get no rest. It was like we couldn't get no peace. And we felt, I ain't gonna be able to. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to. No, we weren't. You weren't. Nah, you was all right. You was all right. Because you recognized that things were getting too heavy for you. When you're mentally ill, nah, you don't, nah, I'm dealing. You think that you're dealing with it like it ain't nothing. What? There's a difference. There's a big difference. Carol Chamberlain says, "What's crazy to us may be saying." Oh, I'm sorry, I read that. Emily Dunlap says, "When some brain cells don't work, others are even stronger." Yeah, well, they say that we only use 10% of our brain anyway. I don't know how they can measure that. I don't know how they can measure that. Because they say if we could use our whole brain, then we would be off the charts. I'm like, how you know? Have you tested everybody's brain to know that they're only using 10%? Which 10% is it? Fuck are you talking about? So if we're only using 10% of our brains, can we find the part that we are using and cut away the rest? Make some more space in your head? always sounded ridiculous to me, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's Google it. Let's Google. How do we know that we only use 10% of our brains?
Here is some information for humans use only 10% of their brains. According to Wikipedia, the 10% of the brain myth is a widely perpetuated myth that most or all humans only use 10% of their brains.
Oh, it's a myth. Oh, okay. The 10% of the brain myth is a widely perpetuated myth that most or all humans use only 10% or some other small percentage of their brains. It has been misattributed to many celebrated people, notably Albert Einstein. Oh, okay. Hold on. Myth. We only use 10% of our brains. Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this, y'all. And this is a website. This is called sociologicalscience.org. Myth. We only use 10% of our brains. Suggested lesson plan. The notion seems firmly rooted in popular culture despite many efforts to debunk it. Hughes, Liddy, and Lamb, 2013. It was the basis of the movie Lucy, 2014, which depicted what supposedly would happen if a person actually used all 100% of her brain power. It has been used to justify belief in pseudo-scientific psychic powers and is a tacit assumption in many self-help programs designed to unleash untapped human potential. Hughes et al. 2013 found that this misconception, hereafter called the 10% myth, is one of the most prevalent misconceptions among the public. More concerning is the finding in Decker et al. 2012 that about 50% of primary and secondary teachers across different cultures also endorse the 10% myth. There are a plethora of articles and videos debunking this myth, both in popular media and from neuroscientists. What's more, neuroscientists now have tools for creating images and tracking the activity of living, functioning brains. The best known of these are PET position, that's positron emission tomography scans, and fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging. These techniques, which have come into common use in the last 25 years or so, have revolutionized our understanding of brain function. In PET scans, a biologically active radioactive tracer is injected into the subject for the brain. This is usually a form of glucose. The tracer is metabolized by the brain, and in doing so, positrons are emitted. The more active the brain structure, the greater the positron emission. Sensors detect the positrons through gamma radiation, and then a computer can construct a three-dimensional representation of brain activity based on tracer concentrations. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do what we do. I'm gonna copy this and post it in the comments, and y'all can go look at it, read it, study it at your leisure. Emily says some people like their jobs. I did what I wanted to at my job. I cared nothing about it, and that's why you're not there anymore, right? Because I conduct myself properly in my job. You're not fucking with my cash. Plus, I don't like getting fired. That's offensive to me. So yeah, I follow the rules. Not all of them. I do my thing. But openly being openly defiant, I'm good. Because I need that check. I need that check. You know how some people be like, I mean, I don't need that money. I can do it. Nah, I need that check. I need that. I need the whole motherfucking thing. All that shit. Emily says, I know this family that people talk loud to them, or yell at them because people think they're crazy. But I don't think they are. I've seen things that they know or do that crazy mental illness people can't do. It doesn't mean that they're not mentally ill. Doesn't mean that. But when we're talking about mental illness and their inability or ability to do certain things, we're normally talking about their functionality in society, their ability to function in society peacefully and productively. Emily says, no, that's why I'm not there. No, that's not why I'm not there. I did what I was supposed to do. I'm not there because an idiot decided to run on into my car. Let's see what you say here. Some people like their jobs. Me, I did what I wanted to at my job. I cared nothing about it. You need me to read that again? Let's see. I did what I wanted to at my job. I cared nothing about it. I did what I wanted to at my job. I cared nothing about it. I've seen people who don't care anything about their job, and I see how they act. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Just saying. And then David says, exactly, Omar, I need my check too. That's why I can't call in for this one. Listen, I was playing around with you, but I totally get it. Listen, like one thing my pop told me a long time ago. He said, look, don't let nobody fuck up your job and your money. He said, I don't care if it's, my dad said, I don't care if it's your girl. I don't care if it's your wife. I don't care if it's your sister. I don't care if it's your mom. If your mom works at your job and she messes up things for you at your job, fire your mom, take care of her, and keep getting your money. I was like, because he said 2 broke people ain't no better than 1. Make sure you ain't the one. I'm just saying. Gary Ray says, oh my God, Emily, I'm glad you're okay. Omar, leave her be. Listen, she put it out there. I didn't write that. She's a grown woman. Growner than me. She said, I did the damn job as well as what I wanted to do. I have many professors. Don't need another one. See, I have to explain this to people that I work with all the time. They be like, well, I do my job. I did my work. I'm like, no, see, there's a difference between doing your work and doing your job. See, the job is more than the physical work. See, they don't be understanding that shit. I'd be having to break it down. I'd be like, see, the job is making sure that you don't make the job harder for other people. It also means following the rules. It also means working well with your co-workers. It means not causing trouble. It means not standing out in a negative way. That's your job. Like, we can get somebody else to do exactly how well you do. We can get somebody to do that. We'll get rid of you, and we'll have somebody that they may not start off as good as you are, but we'll get them there. But we ain't gonna put up with your shit. I have to explain that to cats all the time. Like, this is not your crib. You don't run this. And the person who cuts the checks makes the rules. You don't follow that? Then we cut the check, and then we cut off the check. I mean, this ain't hard to understand. But a mentally ill person will not understand that shit. Oh, wow, I did my work. I don't see what you. Let's keep it moving. Just saying. Listen, Emily, you put it out there. I'm going to read it again. Some people like their jobs. Me, I did what I wanted to at my job. I cared nothing about it. Doesn't sound like a lot of responsibility to me. But I ain't write it. You wrote it. You. I'm just saying. Just saying. But yeah, so when you're mentally ill, but speaking of jobs, finding work that a mentally ill person can do is often very challenging. I had a man, I've talked about it on the show before. My man, he slipped into darkness around 1996. Now, my man was good in school. He was fucking up at school because he was running around getting high, hanging out with the crew. My man wasn't a leader in his life. He was definitely a follower. So we all getting high. He the type that get high. We all doing this. He'd do that. That kind of shit. He wasn't, but he was smart. He was gifted mentally. So he was basically flunking out of school. He flunked out of school, paid his way back in school, and went back honor roll every fucking, every semester. Was killing it. Went away. I told y'all this before. I drove him to Chicago because he was going to Roosevelt. I think it was either Theodore Roosevelt in college, in Chicago, or Franklin Roosevelt. Let me see which one it is. Any of my Chi-Town people here can help me out. Hold on. Roosevelt University in Chicago.
Roosevelt University. Here you go.
Okay. It was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. This is where he went. And I dropped him off there on my way to Milwaukee. 1995, summer of 1995. I dropped my man off. And my man was never the same. It was like I dropped one dude off, and the man who came back from there, batshit. Now, first we thought he was just suffering from depression or whatever, and he was, but he was also starting to become schizophrenic. And I had to start thinking, like, was he crazy before? And when I got to thinking about it, I'm like, before we just thought he was acting and doing crazy shit. But who knows what was underneath that? But now he's all the way gone. And the reason that I'm bringing it up is because like I said, he was doing great in school. He went up there and he was killing it, got his degree. But before he came home with his degree, he had to come home for a little while. He had to take a break from school for a little while because what I was thinking is that my man must have went up there and started getting, and they might have slipped my man something because he would, he would get high. And not just alcohol, not just weed. He used to sniff. Like my man used to sniff coke, and I didn't even fucking know it. And we hung out all the time. But he used to always be like, he wasn't your average cokehead. The average cokehead, they sniff and they get all confident, like, yeah, like DMX. Earth, yeah, y'all, we gonna do this, blah, 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 blah. He was always slower than that. You know what I mean? So anyway. But I was thinking, like, yo, man, they might they might have slipped him a dust blunt or whatever. But when he came home, he was bitching about not being able to get no job. He was like, what's the use? I went to school, got my degree and all of that, and I'm ready to work. And these places out here won't hire me. But what he wasn't telling me was that he wasn't ready to work. He wasn't qualified to work because he was about to get a check. He was about to get that SSI. And then I started thinking about all the other people that I knew in my life that didn't work, and I couldn't figure out why they didn't work. And they all used to act crazy, or so I thought. They wasn't acting crazy. They was clinical. The motherfuckers was off the chain. Suffer from mental illness. Word up. I miss my dude. He calls me every now and then or texts me. And you know what? He knows I don't be wanting to take his calls because he be talking. Oh my God. I'd be like, and it hurts. It hurts because I lost my man. I lost him. This was my man. And I lost him. And he ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. And it's funny because he always want to talk about the shit that we used to do before he left. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. It's tough dealing with somebody that's mentally ill versus somebody that's crazy or acting crazy. It's tough. So yeah, it's a tough situation. It really is. It's a tough situation when you're dealing with somebody that's mentally ill. And when you have to come to the reality, of what they are, what they're facing, and what it's going to be versus what you want it to be, because you want it to be just, you know, you know, like maybe if you hit the lottery, or if you find love in your life and all of that, all of these things can turn around. Those are our selfish desires. And it's also a way for us to escape what we are actually dealing with. We're trying to escape it because it's hard. It's hard. It's like when you lose a friend or you lose a family member, when you lose somebody that you love and care for, you lose a part of yourself. And you're losing a part of yourself that you want to keep. But the unselfish, altruistic part of you has to realize, like, yo, you got work to do. And if you really love them and if you really care about them, then you'll go ahead and help them. That's what you'll do. So that's what I tried to do with it. But it ain't easy. It ain't easy. There's a lot more to that story, man. You know what I mean? For real. There's a lot more to that story. But it is what it is. You think it won't win, it will. But yeah. So when you're dealing with somebody that's mentally ill, you're dealing with something that's serious. You're not dealing with something that you can play around with. You're not dealing with something that's just temporary, something that you could turn on and off like a light switch. You're not dealing with something that you're just going to laugh about later on. Like, yeah, remember when you was crazy for that little bit of time? Remember, no. No. So yeah, man, the mentally ill thing, like, and if you're dealing with, a lot of people try to help the homeless, and when you don't understand mental illness, you think homelessness is just about losing your job or hard financial times, and that really doesn't have anything to do with it. Most of what you're dealing with when you talk about mental illness, I mean, when you're talking about homelessness, is mental illness. damn near all of them are crazy. And if you don't believe that damn near all of them are crazy, have you considered the fact that you know, what would it take for you to sleep outside on the streets for consistently and become all right with it? You think you could do that with your normal thinking now? To make the streets your home, a home that you would defend, a home that you would defend keeping, a corner, a block, a place on the street. You think you would defend that in your right mind? I don't know. I don't think so, though. So, yeah, it's serious. It's real serious, you know what I'm saying? So, when you couple, and a lot of reasons that people can't get jobs when they are mentally ill is because their mental state won't allow them to deal and interact with other coworkers peacefully. They're gonna get on the job, start getting into shouting matches, maybe physical fights, situations where they're not speaking to people. Like, I'm not speaking to my team leader. I'm not speaking to my supervisor. I'm not speaking to my manager. Y'all said I had to do the work. Y'all ain't say I had to y'all ain't say I had to speak to nobody. I ain't gotta speak. Yeah. People who act crazy do that kind of shit too, all the time. But they doing it because they spoiled. They doing it because they don't really have that much sense. They don't have a good sense. They're doing it because they've been raised to believe and think that they can get away with that kind of shit, which is part of them being spoiled. That can actually be coached out of them because they acting crazy. They go long enough without being able to get a decent job, or without being able to get a job, or yeah, they'll straighten that shit up quick. Might not be quick enough for us, but And then David says, hell no, I like being inside. Me too. That's what I'm saying. So anybody who comes from a home, listen, I don't care how irresponsible you are in paying your bills, paying your rent, mortgage, whatever. You in your right mind, you and your children are going to move with somebody that you know for a little while or whatever, till you get on your feet, get your shit together and stop acting a fool. Or you're going to go to a shelter where they are going to require that you get your shit together, save your money, and get the fuck out of that shelter. Because shelters are not comfortable and peaceful. They're not as bad as what you would think. It's not just a bunch of beds in there, but you have to deal with rules. You don't live in a shelter because you're not paying any rent or whatever. So they have rules. So you don't want to have your ass in the house by 8 or 9 o'clock. Then you don't want to be in a shelter. You don't want to save your money up so you can get another place, regardless of whatever bills you have. Then you don't need to be in a shelter. You don't want to be in a shelter. You don't want to live in a place where you can't have company, and you absolutely can't have no company of the opposite sex. Then the shelter is not the place for you. Mentally ill patients be like, yup, you're right. That ain't the place for me. This place right here on this heating vent, that's the place for me. I do what I want to do. But yeah, in your right mind, you're going to get your shit together. You ain't going to be living on the streets. It's cold out there. Cold out there. Word up. Nars Hill says, I'm thinking in at least 3 directions to comment because you are beating me to what I'm about to say. So I'll just listen. That's why you my brother from another mother of Nars Hill, my man. Don't worry about it. And then he says, you don't have to speak, but you have to be civil. And being civil means you have to speak. There ain't no place for you to be like, yo, we ain't on speaking terms. Oh, yes, the fuck you are. When you leave this place, yeah, you know I don't speak in terms. Inside this place, you are on speaking terms. You may not be on speaking terms with some of your coworkers if you can get away with it. But with the people that you have to answer to, people in leadership positions, oh yeah, you on speaking terms all day. Either that or you on suspension terms. You on termination terms. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Annette Davis says, if this quarantine lasts much longer, I may have to go outside. Listen, you done took in too many people to ever be homeless. Fuck that. Plus, knowing you gonna keep a roof over your head just to have other people have a roof over their head. That's how you get down. I mean, put you all on blast and all that. Listen, a giver is a giver and a lover is a lover. It is what it is. It is what it is. My bad. But yeah. So yeah, man, the whole mental illness thing is serious. And a lot of times it goes undiagnosed. A lot of people are mentally ill and it goes undiagnosed. And you thinking that somebody just acts a little quirky. We all have our little quirkies, little ticks, innuendos. But there's a difference between those things and crazy. Yeah, Ned, I know you're a little something. Teensy weensy, little teeny tiny, teensy weensy, itsy bitsy bit. Yeah. A serious shit. Mental illness. It is. But it's something we have to deal with. And many of us are dealing with. 319-527-6199, y'all. 319-527-6199. That's the number to call. Get your shine on. Word up. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for liking the show. If you haven't liked the show yet, please press the like button. Pretty please. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Comment. Rate. Subscribe. Pretty please. Share the show. I'm not talking to y'all, my regular sharers. I know you already shared. I know you already shared it. All right, but yeah. So mental illness is something that, we really have to deal with, and a lot of times it goes undiagnosed, which means that with many of us it goes undetected. Shit, we may be the crazy one in our damn selves, so of course we can't see it. We can't see. A lot of times we may not be able to see the forest for the trees because we have crazy, half-ass crazy. Charlene Curry says the people I know all had some type of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia? like we be joking around with people talking about you schizo. Yo, when you see somebody that's really schizophrenic, man, I mean, it's real. It is real, real. I mean, when you're schizophrenic, you see other images, you hear other things. Like when somebody who's schizophrenic say that that God is talking to them, that's real to them. That's real, real. When they see somebody walking, they may say something like, God is walking with me. They mean like God is physically there. You can't see it, they can. Schizophrenic. Characteristics of schizophrenia.
According to helpguide.org, there are 5 types of symptoms characteristic of schizophrenia: delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, disorganized behavior, and the so-called negative symptoms.
It says here that schizophrenia is characterized by thoughts or experiences that seem out of touch with reality, disorganized speech or behavior, and decreased participation in daily activities. Difficulty with concentration and memory may also be present. People may experience. Are y'all ready for this? This is a lot. People may experience behavioral, social isolation, disorganized behavior, aggression, agitation, compulsive behavior, excitability, hostility, repetitive movements, self-harm or lack of restraint, cognitive, thought disorder, delusion, amnesia, belief that an ordinary event has special and personal meaning, belief that thoughts aren't one's own, disorientation, memory loss, mental confusion, slowness in activity, or false belief in superiority, mood, anger, anxiety, apathy, feeling detached from self, general discontent, loss of interest or pleasure in activities, elevated mood, or inappropriate emotional response. Psychological, hallucination, paranoia, hearing voices, depression, fear, persecutory delusion, or religious delusion. Speech, circumstantial speech, incoherent speech, rapid and frenzied speaking, or speech disorder. Also common. Fatigue, impaired motor coordination, or lack of emotional response. But goddamn. Well, goddamn. That's from the Mayo Clinic. Extremely disorganized or abnormal motor behavior. This may show in a number of ways, from childlike silliness to unpredictable agitation. Behavior isn't focused on a goal, so it's hard to do tasks. Behavior can include resistance to instructions, inappropriate or bizarre posture, a complete lack of response, or useless and excessive movement. Symptoms in teenagers. Symptoms in teenagers: withdrawal from friends and family, a drop in performance at school, trouble sleeping, irritability or depressed mood, lack of motivation. See, a lot of these symptoms. All right, man. I'm gonna copy this and paste this. A lot of these symptoms. Damn. A lot of these symptoms are things that may describe a normal episode in your life, but with them, it's not an episode. It's a lifelong struggle. Like it says here, an overview of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a serious mental disorder in which people interpret reality abnormally. Schizophrenia may result in some combination of hallucinations, delusions, and extremely disordered behavior that impairs daily functioning, and can be disabling. People with schizophrenia require lifelong treatment. Early treatment may help get symptoms under control before serious complications develop, and may help improve the long-term outlook. That's pretty positive. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. So there you have it. There you have it. Schizophrenia. Schizo. And then David says, I suffer from depression, but it's not severe. I think we all, now I will say, I think that we all may suffer from a depressive episode in our lives. There may be triggers. Maybe somebody dies or is hurt, or, you know, we've suffered a lot of disappointments in our lives. You know what I mean? Loss of purpose, broken heart. You know what I'm saying? It can trigger some depression. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're clinical. Doesn't mean that you're slipping in the darkness. But what I don't like is when people throw the word depression around like, oh man, I played 2255 in the lottery and that shit came out 2244. I'm so depressed. Like, no, you're not. You're unlucky and you're mad, disappointed. If you was depressed, you ain't getting over that shit. Kitty, good kitty, nice kitty, fun kitty. Good kitty, nice kitty, fun kitty. Good kitty, nice kitty, fun kitty. Good, nice, fun, good. So, yeah, you know, a little depression never killed nobody. A lot of depression to make you kill somebody, kill yourself. Annette says, I know all about schizophrenia from my mother. Yes, good. Good kitty. Yes, good. Don't jump up on it. Don't jump up there. Yeah. Now, see, we've been talking mostly about mental illness. Now, when you start talking about people who act crazy, you know, people who bust out windows, slash tires, you know, destroy property and all of that. That's not to say that they don't have any underlying mental illness issues. What I'm saying is they ain't the real deal, though. Their symptoms are not as acute. They ain't ready for the big time. They ain't ready for the Haldol. They ain't ready for the Thorazine. They ain't ready for the Zoloft. They ain't there yet. And it's fucked up that in order to get, you know, the whole pharmaceutical thing, because it doesn't cure them. It just takes away, it numbs them, but it numbs all of them. It just makes them feel bad. And that's why a lot of them stop taking the medication, because it keeps you from being able to fuck, you know, no sexual activity and all of that. That's why the schizophrenic patients that I knew, they would stop taking it for a while so they could, you know what I mean, they can get some ass, and then they, you know, 201 themselves, get back on the shit and be all right. My brother from another mother, Norris Hill, he said Donny Hathaway, Marvin Gaye, and Kurt Cobain all suffered with severe depression. A lot of people didn't know that Marvin Gaye suffered from severe depression. They say that's why his dad, you know, there's so many different versions of the story about why Marvin Gaye's dad killed him. But his brother, who held Marvin Gaye in his arms as he died, he said, I made him do it. Now I'm what did he say? Something like, he said, I didn't have the balls to do it myself. I made him do it. I don't know. Marvin Gaye's dad was a cross-dresser. He was a Pentecostal, Pentecostal, holiness Pentecostal pastor, and he was a cross-dresser. Marvin Gaye. Have y'all ever seen an interview with Marvin Gaye? Kind of soft. And I've heard that his dad didn't like the fact that he was gay. I'm like, you a cross-dresser, you're gay, but you don't appreciate. I don't know. He's not here to defend himself. Both of them are dead now. Marvin Gaye, talk like him. Had me asking, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? TK Wright says, most suffer from depression, Annette. You are not alone, baby doll. So, for the men out there, if your woman don't give you no ass and you bust into tears, you may just be having an episode. You gave me some last week. Garcelle says, hey, support animals. I will. TK Wright says some of the medications out here actually have side effects that cause brain dysfunction. Yeah, it's artificial. Naturopathic practitioners do not believe in psychotic, antipsychotic, antidepressant medicine. They believe that it's all in your diet. They believe that it's the things that you eat that are causing you to go crazy. I want to believe that, but I'm like, everybody ain't the same, man. Like, look, some say if I eat broccoli, then I won't be crazy. And some people say I'm crazy for eating broccoli. What's it going to be? What the blood clot? What the blood clot? Welcome back, Emily. Carol Chamberlain says, yes, Taki, some meds only serve to make things worse, both mental and physical. Emily says, Annette, the doctor gave me pills for depression because she thought or assumed I may be experiencing trauma. I am not taking those pills. And they just make you want to holler, throw up your hands, throw up both my. Rest in peace, Marvin. Marvin. What are you doing now? It seems like yesterday. All right. Charlene Curry says they stop taking the medication and then they have to be readmitted to get back on track. Yep. I've seen it many, many times. I've participated in it. But I wasn't the crazy one, all right? TK, right? Because when you experience those side effects, your PCP will then prescribe you medication to help, but won't tell you that once you stop taking it, the symptoms increase. Your PCP, that's angel dust from a primary care physician. Why you promoting drugs and shit? Black people always promoting drugs and shit. He says, Charlie, most times people don't really need the medications doctors say they need. It's a mind thing. Doctors be talking so much that they implement in people's head that they need them. I don't know. That I don't know. I don't know. I don't see how each and every black person in America is not born batshit crazy because of the things that we've been through. I don't see how any of us can be diagnosed as 100% mentally healthy. Our lifestyle just isn't conducive. I mean, if y'all really think about, look at this shit we gotta put up with. Racism, unfairness, inequality, discrimination, wage discrepancies, redlining districts, gentrification, being taught that we are inadequate, systemic racism, institutionalized racism, incarceration, experimentation on our health, mental and physical, Tuskegee experiments, slavery, Jim Crow, back to institutionalized and systemic racism. How the fuck do you get through life 100% healthy when you have been raised from that? You feel the energy from all your ancestors, and you are expected to get to an elderly age, if you're lucky, and be all right. And you're supposed to accept all of those things as normal or okay or acceptable. We all fucking crazy. There just happen to be levels to that. Really? 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 I mean, really? So it's tough. Wait. Popeye's chicken. TK, right? Speaking of patois, me plenty vex with ya, you know. Me plenty vex with you know. Me plenty vex with you now. At blood clot. You really showing ow, like ow, 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 ouch. Chill, sit. Shaz now. All right. Annette, my brother, said the sandwich was good. I told him I'll take his word for it. I hear that, man. I hear that. Fuck that. Charlie Curry said that Emily, the people I know can't make it in the real world without it. Like, yeah, that shit. Like, wait a minute, man. Something gotta be done. Something has to be done. Emily says there's levels to everything. Pick your poison. Okay. So yeah, I mean, like if y'all don't get nothing out of this show, bottom line is, all that acting crazy, all that showing off, showing out, doing things to get attention and all that kind of stuff. When a person is mentally ill, they're not doing anything just to get attention. They're not doing anything just to get a laugh. They're not doing anything just to make somebody get in line or they're not doing it for any particular end. They wholeheartedly believe in what they're saying and what they're doing and how they're feeling. That's their reality. Their third eye is going crazy. It's going crazy. And we have to respect that, understand that, adhere to that. Because like I said, it's not going away. This is not a plaything. This is not a plaything. It's not going away. It's not something you can just laugh and joke about. It's not. This thing is super serious, ultra serious. The real deal, you know what I'm saying? Mental illness. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But listen, any and all of you who have suffered from it or know those who have suffered from it, shout out to y'all. I would encourage you to study it to the fullest. Study it to the fullest and get to understand what your treatment options are, what the prognosis is, and what the outlook for the future is. So because like I said, mental illness can happen to anybody. It can go undetected from anyone. And it's just something that we need to take into serious consideration and stop playing around with. That's, what I'm saying? If we don't get nothing out of this, let's get that. So what we about to do, we about to close out the show. We about to end it all. End it all. End it all. But we're going to do these birthday shout outs. And then we're going to holla back. I said we do the birthday shout outs. And then we're holla back. I holla back now. A holla back now. Okay. So let's do these birthday shout outs, y'all. Do some birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious April 5th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special, because they are special, because they are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They are S-P-E-C-I-A-L. They are number one out the box. My girl, Shanika D. Crowley. Shanika Crowley. Queen. Poetic Expressions. Queen Nika. Turning 42 years old today. Look at you. I said, look at you. Oklahoma stand up. Tulsa. You know what I mean? Denver, Colorado stand up all day. Happy birthday to you, Queen. Do the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? You keep banging. And also Shelly Hernandez. Go get her, Shelly Hernandez. Turning 42 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Señorita Hernandez. And also Karen Melissa Hall. My girl Karen Melissa Hall comments on my page often enough. Texas stand up. Happy birthday. I'm sorry. Karen Melissa Hill. Karen Melissa Hill. She one of them chicks. I'll give it to her. She'd be like, I'm not white. I'm Hispanic. So she's like, nah. She's the only. She got into a beef with some people on my page before. She was like, the only reason they coming at me like that is because they think I'm white. I'm not. I'm like, okay. okay. So your name is Karin Melissa Hill. Karin Melissa Hill. And Roger Crowder Jr. turning 68 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Roger. And Juana Star. Happy birthday to you, Juana Star. And Valencia Testamar. Happy birthday to you, Valencia. And Denise Lopez turning 53 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Señorita Lopez. And Beatrice Brewer turning 54 years old today. And Tiana Demare turning 31 years old today. And Deidre Barlow turning 52 years old today. And my girl going all the way back to the 1982. My girl, Tyria Vita Legree. Tyria Vita Legree. My girl, Tyria Vita Legree. I want to say happy birthday to you, turning 50 years old today. Yay, half century out of 40 to half century. I want to say happy birthday to all of you and anyone else out there who shares this birthday on this glorious April 5th, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on it, do the damn, rock out, rock on it, do the damn, rock out, rock on it, do the damn thing, and do the thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings and do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind, and anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours. And I said, hey, yo. Hey, yo, listen, mental illness, serious. Acting crazy can be serious, because acting crazy is that kind of shit that will get you locked up, get you jammed up, get you in a lot of trouble, have people looking at you sideways, stop you from getting invited to parties and get-togethers and other social gatherings. Suffering from mental illness will actually do the same thing, but for much different reasons. The difference between acting crazy and being crazy, or should I say suffering from mental illness, is that one is going to last for a lifetime. They may not be dysfunctional for a lifetime, but it's going to last. It's not something to be taken lightly. It's not something to act like you don't understand. It's not something to be playing around with. This is serious, you know what I'm saying? Real serious. So, hey, yo, I want y'all to have a great day. Spectacular. Yes, y'all. And, make this Sunday count towards your positivity. And if you know somebody that's suffering from mental illness, talk to them. Don't treat them like an outcast. Try to build with them. Try to understand what they're going through. Try to offer some help. Do your research. Do your research and try to rock out with them as much as possible, because they need you way more than they may give off. They need you. Need. You know what I'm saying? Need. You know what I'm saying? Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. And if you're suffering from mental illness yourself right now, yo, remember that there are plenty of options out here, and that there is a way that you can be functional in society just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Just suffering from mental illness does not mean that you have to be dysfunctional. It doesn't mean that you have to be an outcast. And it doesn't mean that nobody's going to like you or love you. It doesn't even mean that you're not going to get married one day. It doesn't mean that you're not going to enjoy having a family. It doesn't mean that you won't have kids or won't be able to raise them effectively. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that you have to be aware of who you are, what your surroundings are, what your probabilities and possibilities are, and which direction that you should be headed for. Make sure that you're playing your things out, just like if you were a normal person. Because a lot of normal people fail to do those things. A lot of us are just out here freestyling it. We ain't got to do that. It's going to be all right, man. Yo, man, like I said, peace to all my day ones, my everydays, my brand news. We'll be back on tomorrow for another Daily Go Getimism show, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Yo, man, I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all and love you back to life. You understand? So I'm going to holler back. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
No hiccups.
Blog Talk Radio.
Peace, y'all.